A milestone for crypto. Bitcoin has topped the $100,000 mark for the first time ever. The surge coming after U.S. President-elect Donald Trump revealed his choice for the next Wall Street regulator. Now, for more on this historic breakthrough, we're joined by Sean Stein Smith. Sean is an associate professor at Lehman College, City University of New York. Sean, good to see you again. You know, last time I talked to you about this, the tease was out there. We're that close, we're that close. So let's talk about the main drivers behind Bitcoin's recent surge to $100,000 and the significance of breaking this threshold.
Sure. So the main policy drivers behind the big run-up in Bitcoin and the overall tokenized asset world is the president-elect's policies, right? On the trail during the summer, he was the only candidate to actually present at the biggest Bitcoin conference in the U.S., and he and his team have made overt promises and implicit promises to the community to back Bitcoin, to back crypto, and to really make the U.S., as he has said, the hub of crypto on an international basis. So really, that's the main driver. And Sean, as you know, investors love big round numbers. So that $100,000 mark is a big deal. But obviously, we have come back a bit off those highs.
You know, I just think that adage, what goes up comes down. And you think about outgoing members who had been monitoring this and talking about, the possibility of just, not nefarious action taking place, but just obviously the concerns with something out there with Bitcoin that really isn't even regulated that much at this point. So a couple of things. Let's talk about the regulation. And is this surge sustainable?
Well, so on the topic of is coin regulated, it actually really is, right? Because the bulk of the buying and the trading that's happened over the last 12 months, don't forget, is being driven by these spot ETF products managed by the largest financial institutions in the world, all of which are overseen directly by the SEC. And so the whole idea of it being unregulated, being the Wild West, is a bit inaccurate. It is definitely volatile, but it is more regulated versus what the overall view might be. And then, how long this is really going to go on, I would honestly not be surprised if over the next month or so there is a pause and a possible pullback in the prices, but overall, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay, so let's talk about this as a long-term investment. And as we heard in the story, such as the restaurant in London that is now accepting Bitcoin, and some pro athletes negotiating their contracts in Bitcoin. At first, those people were looked on as like, that wasn't a very smart move. Now they're geniuses. So let's talk about this. Is the Bitcoin a viable alternative to shares or commodities?
So the role of Bitcoin in the broader sort of asset class and the international financial markets isn't really a currency, isn't really a commodity by itself. It's more just the idea and the version of a commodity that has been updated, tokenized, and put on chain. So I would say that Bitcoin really has proven itself, and it's proving itself more and more each day as an asset sort of by itself. And the rest of the market is catching up, but I do believe Bitcoin is really sort of pivoting to its own sort of unique role.
Okay, so let's talk about the regulatory developments. You said that it's out there. I'm going to trust you and say that. I've read stories that say not so much. But Donald Trump has floated the idea of starting his own crypto. So let's go down that road. If there is a sitting president that does that, and Trump has broken so many other kind of unwritten rules in the past, it's certainly feasible. How could regulatory development affect Bitcoin?
So the project launched by the president-elect, I would assume it's World Liberty Financial. I would assume that if that project ever actually grows and becomes a viable market actor, I would assume that the president-elect would have to delegate that to some external party. But as you mentioned, President-elect Trump has been sort of a norm breaker. But I would assume that either his project will wind down as he actually takes office, or conversely, if it does take off, he will have to sort of allocate that outside of his or his family's oversight.
Okay, we'll see, indeed. Okay, let's talk about, clearly the SEC isn't going to do anything with the lame duck Biden in office, but let's talk about any kind of specific actions you expect to see from the SEC in the coming years.
Absolutely. And so having Paul Atkins be the choice to head up the SEC is definitely pro for the overall space. Now, two actions that I would hope to see out of a more pro crypto SEC is one, the creation and the building out of the current sort of safe harbor rules, right? That allows companies to come in to operate, to work with the SEC, and to make good faith efforts to operate and to raise capital in U.S. markets. And two, what I really would hope to see is that the pace of lawsuits and legal actions against current market actors will hopefully be brought down, because all of that has proven to be
Right.
a large headwind.
Okay, you got 30 seconds. Tell me your quick outlook for crypto in general, not just Bitcoin, going forward.
Sure. Crypto in general, I'm cautiously optimistic that as more TradFi institutions, banks, and entrepreneurs sort of realize the side of on-chain transactions, that adoption, usage, and ultimately prices will increase.
Okay, Sean Stein Smith, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.